From the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel, this is your after. From the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel, stand by for a live update. From the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel, this is your afternoon update.
Good afternoon, everybody. Taylor Plott here in the Tennessee Valley Weather Center, and we're dry today, still on the cooler side of things. But as we get into Wednesday, things change, and we do introduce the chance of some winter weather across the area. We got a lot to talk about. Let's get right to it. Live look here in Lawrenceburg this afternoon. 32 degrees, still freezing out there. Got a dew point of 21 degrees, so dry air continuing to filter in across the area. Got a little bit of a wind out of the north-northwest at 5 miles per hour, and it really won't be too breezy today, only about 5 to 10 miles per hour at best across the area, so not a huge gusty day out there. Freezing in Florence. Live look at the University of North Alabama on the Arctic Air Skycam network. Things are looking fantastic. Just some high, thin clouds across the area, and that will generally be the trend over the next several hours. Viper radar this afternoon showing absolutely nothing across the area. Temperatures, again, still in those 30-degree ranges. Getting up into the 40s later on today is what we expect, with that high pressure continue to move in from the northwest. We do notice that snow potential going on off to our northwest. We got a system that's coming together that will be moving into our area on Wednesday. Got a Gulf low that's going to be skirting the area off to our south, and that's going to give us that chance for that snowfall on Wednesday. But for today, we're dry, getting up to about 43 degrees during the afternoon hours, and then by the time we get to the evening, getting back down to and below freezing. Should be around 28 degrees by midnight tonight, and clouds will start to creep back into the area later on tonight. Your forecast highs for the day, again, generally right around that 43-degree mark, 44 in the Shoals and Rogersville. Up to the north, a little bit cooler. Mount Pleasant coming in at 41 degrees today, and Columbia probably hitting around 40 degrees as well. Again, like I mentioned, not a huge breezy day, so whatever the temperature is, that's probably what it's going to be feeling like across the area. We don't have any watches, warnings, or advisories across our area yet, but there's a criteria involved here timing-wise. And so we aren't in that window for the National Weather Service in both Nashville and Huntsville and even Birmingham and Memphis, just kind of our regional offices here, before they can issue anything for our immediate area. Now, further to the north, that's a different story. Got winter storm watches here for areas generally along and south of Interstate 40, so Centerville over to Parsons, Jackson, down towards Memphis. You guys are under that winter storm watch. Off to the north of that, you've got winter storm warnings that include Ripley up to Dyersburg, Paris, Tennessee, and further off to the northwest. That's where the heaviest snow is expected with this system. We'll still get some, but it probably won't be extremely high or impactful across our area. There will be some impacts, but it won't be a high impact event with this. Take a look at the HRRR model for the remainder of the day. Clouds, most of these are high, thin clouds moving in across the area, but those clouds will start to thicken up once we get into the Tuesday evening time frame. I want you to pay attention to the timing on this. This is going to be an overnight thing into the early morning hours on Wednesday, so the majority of the snow is going to be happening when we're all fast asleep. But 10 o'clock, probably starting to see a little bit of snow activity here off to our northwest, maybe a little bit of a mix going on off to our west. Could start off as a little bit of sleet before the snow really starts to move on in here. By about 4 o'clock in the morning, it should be snowing for the majority of the area. Temperatures generally in the 20s here along the US 64 corridor, down to the south, down into the lower 30s, so generally around freezing. Somewhere in here, this model guidance has it all the way down to the US 278 corridor, but somewhere generally near and south of the Tennessee River, that should be where that transition zone takes place. You're going to get a little bit of a mixture between rain and snow, maybe a little bit of sleet. I really don't see a big icing issue with this where that transition happens. It's just kind of going to be quick back over to rain or back over to snow. So that will kind of wobble a little bit through the morning hours. So right now, this model guidance is hinting that it's all the way down here towards US 278. That's definitely possible, but that general idea is it's going to be somewhere near and south of the Tennessee River for the majority of this event. Further to the east, that's a different story. You got a little bit of a warm nose punching in here from the south. That changes things over to rain. Scottsboro at 36, Huntsville at 35, Gunnersville at 36. So there could be areas up here in northeastern Alabama that might not see a lot of snow potential with this because you got a lot more rain coming in with that warm nose, and that continues here with this model guidance. So again, there's going to be some differences in the model guidance, and again, that transition zone, as we've seen multiple times in the past, will probably wobble a little bit back and forth. But I think for the majority of our Tennessee counties here and north, you're going to be seeing mostly snow. Once you get down into the Alabama area, especially near the Tennessee River, that's where things start to get a little bit more iffy. But as of right now, it looks like there's going to be a good chunk of the area seeing mainly snow, and then other parts of the area getting into that little bit of a rain-snow mix. So when it's all said and done, this is kind of our current thinking here. Generally north of the Tennessee River, anywhere from 1/2 inch to 2 inches can be expected. There could be some spots here and there that just get a little bit more. Once you get down south of the Tennessee River, again, that's kind of that iffy zone. If you do get a little bit of snow, it could be upwards of 1 inch. If you don't get a lot, it's going to be down towards a dusting at best. But generally, up to 1 inch is expected at this point, generally south of the Tennessee River. Higher totals are still situated off to our northwest, where 2 to 4 inches or higher are expected for places like Centerville, Parsons, Humboldt, up towards Jackson, and further towards the northwest. So again, we are going to be seeing snow. There's going to be some impacts, but the impacts shouldn't be extremely high because this is such a quick hitting system during the morning hours. We're not talking about 12 to 18 hours worth of widespread snow. It's only going to be probably about 6 hours worth of snowfall potential across our area. So again, that's on late Tuesday into early Wednesday. The majority of it's going to happen on Wednesday morning. Again, most of the snow is going to be north of the state line, and then a little bit of rain is expected south of the state line, especially south of the Tennessee River. Our big question is what happens with some melting that goes on, because we've had several days where we haven't had real big freezing temperatures for a long period of time. Our ground's a little bit warmer now, so there probably will be a little bit of melting involved on Wednesday for places that do see some snowfall. So what happens Thursday morning? Well, we plummet down to 15 degrees, so that's going to freeze anything that's out there on the roadway. So there could be an icy commute in store for your Thursday morning. Could be all day on Thursday, especially those back roads that really don't get treated that well, that are relatively shady. There's going to be ice on that for probably the majority of the day on Thursday and maybe even into the day on Friday. But your main roadways, they still could have issues on Thursday because we don't get above freezing. Only about 28 degrees for your high on Thursday. We go back down into the teens for your Friday morning, getting down to 13 degrees. And then finally we warm up on Friday afternoon, getting up into the middle 30s. So we'll finally get above freezing. So those back roads, if they still have ice on them, they'll start to melt on Friday. Saturday, a little bit warmer, still dry, 47 degrees, and then finally getting back up into the 50s once we get into Sunday afternoon. That's a look at your latest forecast. Fred Gossage has your latest coming up later on this evening. Until then, I hope everybody has a wonderful day.
You're watching the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel.